Good Friday afternoon, guys. My name is Jerry Miller, and welcome to the I Love CVille Show. We're live in Charlottesville, across Albemarle County, Central Virginia, the Commonwealth, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. Thank you kindly for joining us. It's Friday afternoon. It's super windy in Central Virginia. I don't know how the wind is in your neck of the woods, but right now in Charlottesville and across Central Virginia, we're looking at 15-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Mother Nature certainly flexing her muscles right now. Today's show is a good one. Eliza Whiteman is our guest. She is fabulous. She's a survivor. She's a fighter. She's a winner. She's a businesswoman. She's a mom. She's a wife. We'll put in perspective her yoga studio and how it has conquered this pandemic. I'm going to say it. Conquered this pandemic. Judah Wickhauer is our director. Why don't we welcome Eliza to the set and to the studio? I feel like you've done that, right? Conquered the pandemic?
I mean, we're like shovel in hand right now, so it's a little bit difficult. You know, like when you're in the middle of something, it's just difficult to be like, oh no, we're good. We're good right now.
Do you feel hopeful?
No, I feel hopeful. Yeah, for sure. I feel hopeful, but it is the best visual here is that we were just drop kicked like down into a hole, right? And so we're in this midst of like climbing out, and yeah, you do see the light, it's there, but it gets closer sometimes, and then other times it's like, it feels like we drop back, and so it's this continual thing of
one step forward, two steps back.
It does feel like that, but I feel like especially in this last month and a half, 2 months, has been like, okay, now we're gaining ground. So that's where we are. Like I feel like January was bleak. That was really bleak.
Was that the darkest month of the pandemic?
I feel for us it felt like that because it was just slammed. That was like the height of the cases in the area, in the nation. And so it was like, are we going to get out of this? So January was tough. And so in these last, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, it's felt like, okay, now we can start working towards things we want to be doing instead of really having to react in the moment. So that's been such a boost for us. It's been like, okay, let's start planning things now. Now we can start looking out instead of, having just to react right now with what's going on. So yeah. So
you're the owner, you're the director of FlyDog Yoga. Mm-hmm. You guys are badasses. You're located behind Barracks Road Shopping Center.
Right.
Give us the flip book of the pandemic for your brand. Including roughly this time last year, we're starting to realize that this is going to be super, super serious, that everything's going to be shut down, and we're going to be stuck in our homes for a long period of time.
Right. Well, and it's so difficult. Even for you, like trying to remember like just the knowledge that we had, which was nothing. Sure. And just having no idea the scope and scale of this thing, right? Uh-huh. So if you remember, like a year ago, it was lockdown. And so when we shut our doors as soon as UVA and public school announced we're taking is a couple of weeks. Yeah. Do you remember that?
The first 2 weeks were flat in the curve.
Flat in the curve.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, that was it. And it was like, oh my gosh.
So that was late March last year, right? Mid-March. Okay, gotcha.
I feel like 14th, 15th, something like that.
Okay.
So it came down as like flat in the curve, 2 weeks. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, you guys, here we go. That was a great opportunity. We've learned so much with this. But that was the opportunity of like, here's what we wanted to be doing. We wanted to flip and work more online. Sure. Here's a great opportunity. Okay, so we have to close our doors for 2 weeks. We can do it, and we're also going to build content for online. Sure. And do Zoom classes. Yeah. Yep. And so we have the Zoom classes. Cut to 2 weeks later.
We're still quarantining.
4 weeks, 6 weeks, couple of months. Like we didn't get July. Was it July when we?
Sounds right.
June, July, something like that. Yeah. Where we started to have indoor classes and So that's the first part of it. We flipped and pivoted and built this whole online brand. Great.
A ton of content.
So
a
we
library.
Have so we have over 100 classes now, all sorts of, yoga and HIIT classes and different. The big thing now is that we're really starting to learn the trends, watching the trends. Like, we've put in a lot of content recently, the last few months, of really short content, things for like your warm up, your cool down, things that you can couple with any activities. So we really started to grow that way as well.
Do you feel like folks are looking for shorter content online?
That's where it was kind of trending to, and especially as people are more active now when it gets warmer, then
Because you saw the time on site metric, and did you see that it started dropping off after X minutes into the
not
content?
Not necessarily that, because I think we have been, the majority of our stuff online is like 30 minutes. We haven't done, we live stream. We live stream our classes, so we have that hour. So anything that we film with Night for Night Productions, anything that we film over there, that it's about 30-minute segments, and then we started building like 10-minute segments. But so what we saw was just people getting busy, doing their running or doing anything outdoor, hiking, but they wanted something proactively, before they go, like the quick warm up, or something for when they come home, right? That 10-minute kind of stretch, cool down. And just shorter segments, just if they just don't have time. So building that has been great. The whole online, so we live stream our classes, and we're still doing that. We're still producing all of our classes. So that's been a huge flip, a huge pivot for us. But as we were going through the summer months and being this was like, now we're disinfecting everything, right? Now it's like all the time disinfecting.
That's the time when we were scared to bring grocery bags into the house.
Right? Remember
we were
that?
leaving the groceries in the garage. We were stripping our clothes off when we left the house in the garage and leaving them, because the speculation was they had to air out over 24 hours in the garage before they could come inside. Remember?
Yes, I do. All of that. And so at that point, it's like disinfect the studio. We're down to just very limited numbers with people. I think at that time it is 5-6 students in class, way spaced out. And so, as we're turning into, fall, and now we're starting, we started to see too, like during the summer, things started to drop. And then, all of the things that were going on top of it, it was exhausting with that. And so then coming into the fall, it's like, okay, well, numbers are kind of dropping at this point. And then we hit October. Like we were starting, like maybe there's something, maybe we can get out of this. But then by September, October, it's like, this is going to hit hard. We knew for winter, we just knew it was going to hit hard.
That's when we were saying, the Game of Thrones line, winter is coming.
Winter is coming.
And we were
That's
like,
what
it was like
deal.
500 centuries ago, and here, us in Charlottesville, we're trying to survive winter.
Right. So for the wellness industry, we were capped with people. So I believe initially it's like no more than like 10.
Yeah, it was like 10 people. Right, and it's impossible to run a business with 9 people in a class.
Right.
Here's a tough question. Did you guys ever, you and the family, think about throwing in the towel and saying no more?
It got like, oh my God, what are we going to do?
Right.
There were like, what if? So we had all the scenarios, like when is it time?
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like when is it like, okay, we just can't anymore. I don't feel like we got there, I knew that it's going to be tough. God love my husband. He's just super positive. He's always action. Do you know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
And so when I'm like, oh my gosh, it was so good to have someone there that's like, okay, no.
Adapt and overcome.
Here's what we're looking at. Yeah. Here's what we're looking at. And here are the scenarios. And so it's super tough. And for all businesses, like right now, there's a lot of business. We're operating at 25%.
Indoor capacity.
Yes. And
does that not open back up May 15th to a larger, so you guys do not? What is the thinking with that? That's just the governor's restrictions, just like so many, and I'm saying this, you're not saying this, I'm saying this, you're not saying this.
Oh, thanks, Jerry.
So many of these restrictions
Yeah.
from the governor's office have been changing every few days, changing once a week. It's so
Right.
impossible for
Right,
us
right.
as business owners to plan and to respond. I mean, now as business owners, we're asked to be the mask police, the 6 foot in between police. We're asked to do more than we ever have as business owners.
Right.
So for gyms, or is it wellness? Health and wellness category?
Yeah, health and wellness. And so, we're looking, so May 15th, right? New guidelines are going into place.
Because that allowed big time weddings.
Right.
And it allowed music venues. It did
Right,
not apply to
and
you
venues.
guys? Darn it.
Yeah, so it didn't apply to us, and so we've been sending out like all of the studio connections that I have here in this state, been sending out emails, been sending out petitions. Like, we're not asking for, we don't have to be 100%, but we can't be capped at such a low number, especially now when we have, majority
Vaccines
of our,
in people's arms.
the majority of our staff, I mean, all of my staff, are vaccinated, and we have people that want to come in. We have options. If you don't want to get the vaccine or you can't for whatever reason, you have options. We have outdoor events. We have online content. Coming indoors is like your option. And so, and majority of our people, they're vaccinated anyway.
Right.
That are attending. And so, so that's where we are right now, and just kind of being like, can we get any clarification on this? Can we get any understanding of why this is still happening? So,
Do you think it's because the restaurant and the hospitality industry has this lobbying group?
yeah, I feel like that.
The Virginia Restaurant Tourism and Lodging Association,
right.
where health and wellness is a
Right.
bunch of splintered individual owners.
Yes.
So there
very
is
much
no
so.
lobbying group.
And that's just within the state, but then across the nation, like we still have a Gyms Act still kicking around in Congress to help with
Where the
with
restaurants
grants.
got theirs.
And they got theirs
Okay.
in March, yeah.
Okay.
So that's still kicking around, and we're still unsure if that's even going to go through or what that looks like if it does go through.
Sure. So that's why I started the interview by saying that there's hope and you conquered COVID, because I thought you guys were a part of the May 15th
Right.
opening, but you're not.
No.
Damn it.
Yeah. No.
Okay, I apologize.
Yeah.
And I am empathetic to your plight.
Right, so we're still, so then for us, at least being able to, find some action. So we've got a whole outdoor series on outdoors with, so we partnered with Carter Mountain. So
Nice.
First Fridays through September, we're doing our vinyasa and views up at Carter Mountain. We're also partnered with King's Family for Wednesdays.
Nice.
I know, as I go through these off the top of my head, Knight's Gambit, Wool Factory
Nice.
on Wednesdays. Yes, and
So is that you building those relationships?
Well, I mean, all of us, like our whole team,
So you're like,
who we
who can we reach out to?
Yeah,
that
who can we
has,
work
like,
with?
A micro group of people where we can do a class.
Yes, absolutely.
That's brilliant.
Yes, so doing all of that. So our whole outdoor series throughout the summer. So great opportunity for that. And then we even have our outdoor classes over at the VFW. So many different options with that. But then we're gearing up finally to get our SUP, so our stand-up paddleboard yoga. We're getting that going in May. And over at the reservoir.
Okay.
And so amazing. I'm just so happy to get that going finally, because that was not a thing last year.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so getting that going, we're getting our retreat going. We're going to do a domestic retreat down outskirts of Asheville. So getting that, and then teacher training. So, and that's been, I mean, again, just the opportunities with teacher training, with workshops online. That's the biggest, I mean, kind of blessing that we had to go through it, because now we have so many options now.
Right.
So we're building.
You're so versatile.
Online content for teacher training. So we don't have, you can learn at your own pace. You're doing stuff online, but then we meet in person. It makes that really effective and accessible to folks. So, I mean, biggest thing, diversify.
I mean, it seems like now that you have more like, revenue verticals and engagement verticals than ever before.
Right.
You got the stand-up yoga. You got yoga at epic venues outside where people can experience, God's earth while doing yoga.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We just did our first one at Carter Mountain.
That sounds amazing. That sounds amazing.
God.
And then you finish with like a bold rock or an apple donut.
Right.
So throw this to you. Do you anticipate 100% indoor capacity this summer?
Isn't New York or was it
July
California?
1, I think.
July 1 was New York,
City.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to be able to, when we first, we were watching the numbers so closely during the summer, last summer. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When we were like, okay, when we hit this number, like then we can have people back in the studios. And, they were giving us really clear guidelines on
but not now.
when. I mean, not since that time, because, when we hit winter, we saw, all these numbers go up and we're like, wait a minute, this was back in the summer, like we have surpassed those numbers that you said we had to be at, a certain level or if we could open or not. So that was just blown out of the water. But yeah, I would love to be able to be like, okay, July, 100%. Something to work towards.
Sure.
Some kind of clearance.
Expectation.
Where I could be like, okay, we can get through this. We'll just plan for July 1st. But we don't have any of that. And that's just, that's probably the most frustrating thing is just give us, these guidelines that you guys are looking at or just let us know your thinking with this distance between participants. But you're capping us at 25% capacity, and right now, for us, it's 25% of revenue. And as we kind of diversify what we're doing, that helps. But we still have our bills. We still have our rent. Like that's just a thing that we're having to be like, okay, so what else can we do? And so really starting to brainstorm and help out that indoor capacity that we're trying to work with.
Carrie Rock is giving you some props.
Oh, good.
Jennifer Peacock Elmore. FlyDog is absolutely amazing. The cool part of this show, guys, is you can give Eliza props by leaving comments in the feed. You're getting love from Lorraine Sanders, Aaron Clabo, Tony Cruz. Giving you some love right now. You have 4 states watching you on the show. So a lot of folks predict that we may have like this roaring 20s situation on our hand where like we've been quarantining and we've saved some money over the last 13 months because we haven't gone to dinners and happy hours. So the prediction is like music venues and restaurants and breweries and wineries are going to be exploding for the rest of the year and into next year. Is it a similar mindset to say that the health and wellness businesses that survive the pandemic can potentially gain more market share because so many of them have closed? Is that the thinking?
There's that, but I also think, and why the wellness industry, has not completely just given up with all of this. Like we know that we are needed, and we see the effect of building that connection and community because so many people have lost that. So even being online, when we're on there, but being in person, it's just that energy. There is that energy there. We make the best of it being online, and there's great opportunities that is afforded with being online. But I do feel like people are going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get in there and just, again, it's kind of like the whole being together with people. This has been a hard year, and I get that people are like, yeah, let's go out and celebrate. But for me, for my family, we're still trying to dig out of this, until we feel like we've depleted everything, as all small businesses have through this year. It's like starting over in your first year of business, but you've already depleted everything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like it's building, but it's going to be a while for a lot of people, small business owners, to really start to feel like they've gained some traction.
Sure.
But I do think it will be a little bit of roaring 20s. I do think people are like, can't wait to get back in. And I do think there will be real growth within the fitness and the wellness industry in like fall, I feel.
What did you learn about you and your husband? What did you guys learn about yourselves during this time?
You know, it's like the dedication to the family, but our extended family within with our studio, and that we will do anything, right, for our people.
Okay.
And that's really, you know, and in return, our people have done so much for us, you know, and really stuck by us and grabbed a shovel as well to help us climb out. But you know, with the kids and the family, we've had to switch a lot of roles. I've scaled way back on all the big things I wanted to be doing, and it's like I'm homeschooling, you know? And
Sure.
we decided to stay with that through the rest of the year. But
Rest of this spring semester?
yeah.
Okay, so fall, back to school?
Yeah, that's, like everyone has to ask me that question. Like,
Do you get
are you
that
going to put
question
them
a lot?
back in for fall? I'm like, are you kidding me? Yes.
You're saying, okay, so it's a no-brainer, slam dunk. You're like, get them out of the house.
Sure.
Yeah, is that?
Yeah,
right.
for fall,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. That's
Right.
what we're planning. We decided to go with Virginia Virtual, so it's like an online public school.
Okay.
So they had the curriculum, they had the schedule, they had all their they've been doing this for a
So
while.
it was legit.
It was legit,
Yeah.
and it's amazing. So it's a lot of work. It's a lot of family time. But I mean, I've seen my kids just learn just exponentially than what where they've been before. So
Really?
it's been great. Yeah.
Like learning at a clip that's greater than they were learning in the classroom?
I mean, that would be like an opinion, right? I don't. What I've seen from them is like it's so many different learning techniques. They're learning something online, but then they have the workbook, but then they have some different skills to be working on as well. And so that just really helped them. They do miss in person. They do miss other kids, absolutely. And that's why we're going back in the fall. But I mean, to really buckle down and, hey, now we're learning division, fractions, multiplication. It really helped them, you know, buckle down and practice with those concepts that are kind of difficult teaching to big classroom of kids. So I feel like they've done really well with this.
What part of your customer base is students?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I feel like I wouldn't say half,
Okay.
but I'd say a strong quarter.
So strong quarter. So
Yeah.
25, 30%?
Yeah, I would say that's fair. But we have a really good community base, and the students just,
They're the gravy.
yeah.
They're the gravy, right?
Yeah.
So with UVA, President Ryan said, we're going to do in person this fall.
Yeah.
Like we're committed to students being in Charlottesville and learning in the classroom. Did you breathe a sigh of relief there? Because don't you feel like so much of this community goes as the university goes?
I mean, I think so. I mean, that's one of the things when we shut our doors was
That's when all of Charlottesville shut
Yeah,
down.
when everybody
when the
shut down.
ACC tournament was canceled.
Right.
And then we were like,
Right.
oh my gosh, this is
No,
for real.
no, it's for real.
Yeah, right? Remember?
Yeah. And so I think that when that's open and in person for UVA, I think it's like, okay, so now we're going, right? So now we're gonna go. So now we're doing this. But yeah, I think that's just a huge boost with the vibrancy of Charlottesville and that energy with it. And that's the shops and all the events and things like that. It's great to have that energy with it. And I think, by having the options for in-person it's just going to help get the feeling back.
Yeah.
Right? Get the feeling back, get the energy back where it was.
My
Yeah.
friend, he comes on the show all the time, Alex Erpy, he describes this virtual communication, like the essence of the word virtual is not as good So virtual communication.
Right.
It's not as good communication as if we were in person.
Right.
And I feel like that's like the case for anything. Like
Yeah.
you and I, like we thrive off the energy from this.
Right.
And like for 13 months like you of having to do this, and like we now over the last 2 weeks have now started having people in the studio.
Right.
And it's because we got vaccinated. I got Johnson & Johnson, and I feel
Oh,
more,
we did too.
Yeah, I feel more confident.
Right.
Did you feel? How did your mindset change when you got vaccinated? Because I felt like, were you not fairly confident about it?
I was minutes late coming here because I forgot my mask and I had to walk all the way
I do
back.
that all the time.
I know.
Yeah, I
Yes.
forget my mask all the time. So did your confidence level uptick dramatically after you got the Johnson & Johnson? After you got vaccinated?
I've heard so many people just being like, I like cried when I got the vaccine. Like,
You did?
I cried. No, but when I hear their stories
Yeah.
and just being like, I totally get it. Like just in that
You
moment.
get almost your life back.
It's like
right?
relief.
Yeah.
I feel just relief, like, okay. So there's just this instant like, oh, okay. We're just feeling like it's another step. It's another action.
Right.
So it just felt really good to be with that, and just also continuing to be really, really cautious and respectful. I think that's still a big thing with me, and seeing where, what's the next step, what's the next level.
What is the next step?
That's a great question.
Let's say I was reading online. I did an interview yesterday with Kelly Jackson.
Yeah.
And we were talking about vaccinations.
Right.
So over 50% of the city of Charlottesville or Albemarle County have at least one shot. It's roughly 40%
Right.
of the city and Albemarle County have been fully vaccinated. Roughly.
And like highest in the state, isn't
right.
it? Right.
We're crushing it.
Right.
We are crushing it. So what is the next step? Let's say, have you guys talked about this? Like, is it going to be this like vaccine passport? Where it's no shirt, no shoes, no vaccine, no service, no entry. I mean, is that what we're going to have to do for businesses as being business owners?
I don't know about businesses. I mean, you can see it with, there's been talk with traveling and things like
and theme parks.
And theme parks, yep.
Like say for FlyDog or like a restaurant
Right.
or a winery or brewery. Is it going to be you have to show us a negative test or a vaccine before you can come in?
I mean, you can think about it like that. And I also, as a business, I wouldn't put that on there. But I do think it's like you are...
Because it's not your responsibility or because it's so much more than you can handle from a personnel standpoint? Because there's like...
So that would be both.
Both, right?
Oh, both.
Dude, I meant like
you can print off a vaccine card, like
right.
really, like if you really want to do it. But I think it's like your option at this point. I'm vaccinated.
Yeah.
People that want to be vaccinated are vaccinated. And if for whatever reason.
So now it's like Darwinism. Like we've given everyone the option.
Given everybody the option.
To get vaccinated.
Right.
And if you choose not to take it and you go to a place and you get sick, then it's on you.
It's on you.
I see it that way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yes. And
I see it that way.
Yeah, and I think, businesses can, if they want to have that option to do that, and I can't think of scenarios right now, but if they wanted to do that, like even with our teacher training, we were like, well, do we want to do that? Do they have to give like a negative, and that's just, a negative result or, and
you guys thought about it?
I just didn't want to go there with it. Yeah, we tossed it around, like, do we want to do that? Or, how do we feel about it? And as we get closer to it, we could discuss it more, but I mean, at this point, I do feel kind of like it's on us.
It's on the people.
Yeah.
I feel that way too. Like I won't name the brewery, but I was at a brewery a few weeks ago, and I literally was watching like the hostess, who was like 17 years old, like having to be like the mask police. Yeah. And like she's going up to grown-ass men.
I know.
And she's like 17 years old.
I know.
And like these guys had been... they've had some drinks in them.
I know.
And it was just such a tough spot for her to be in. I was empathetic for her. I felt for her. It's like now us as businesses, as business owners and as staff, we're having to do so much. Like, can you imagine? More than we ever thought, right?
Right. No, I mean, everything. We've just doubled up with so many things, like making sure and cleaning things off, the disinfection, disinfecting everything. I mean, our students coming in have been amazing. They get it, like, of course, they come in with the mask. And so that, we've not had any problems, with that. And because, of course, we have options. You can go online, you can go do outdoors, there's other options there as you need it. But yeah, my little corner grocery, convenience store, they have signs everywhere. You have to wear a mask. And every day, every time I go in there, I'm like, how are people with their masks now? And they're like, it's terrible. They still get people coming in. And so there's lots of discussions with it. I like to be respectful.
Yeah.
As a business owner,
Golden rule.
I would want to be respected. Like, I'm asking you to wear a shirt. I'm asking you to just wear a mask coming in, or whatever. But just being respectful of the establishments and people around. I mean, but yeah, at what point are we going to have to continue that, where we have 17-year-olds trying to tell grown men and they're being belligerent about it?
Right. I was just like, I was watching this
kind of
whole
a
play
bummer.
out. It's like a microcosm of like the pandemic in so many ways.
Yeah.
That a masked 17-year-old girl in high school
Sure.
is having to go to two grown-ass dudes who are consuming and try to get them in line. It was just a very awkward situation. So when do you and your guy feel comfortable, say, going to like a restaurant and eating inside? Are you doing that now?
We have our little Jarapeo Mexican restaurant.
Oh,
there.
El Jarapeo is awesome.
Yes. So up there, so north.
Okay, yeah.
So, yeah. So they've done such a great job. So, I mean, we've got baseball, softball going on right now.
You guys are in the grind.
We're in the grind, yeah. And so, yeah, we'll go up. But they've been great. They've done such a great job with spacing, and we feel comfortable going in there with them. So we're up there, yeah, I mean, it's not like we still take things to go. It's much quicker, and especially with our schedule. But yeah, well, I'll give El Jarapeo a shout out.
Well,
they did great.
I like
there.
that.
It's our family spot.
That place is fantastic. North of town, and then there's one, I think, across from Barracks Road.
I think.
Is it Barracks
that
Road?
right?
El Jarapeo? Is
I don't know the downtown one.
El Jarapeo is, Judah, across from Barracks Road? Or is that the one that's on West Main Street?
Yes,
think
I feel
that's on
like
West
it
Main
is.
Street.
Yeah.
Sorry, it says West Main Street. All right, well, throw this out there, because this comment is coming in. Jerry, can you ask your guests to let us know again where we can do FlyDog outside?
Okay, so all online. You can find the whole list online. But right off the top of my head, we are going. We have First Fridays with Carter Mountain.
It's big time.
Yes. So First Fridays with Carter Mountain. It starts at 6 p.m. And it starts next Friday. Is our first one up there for Fridays. So it's all online. So FlyDogYoga.com. You can go on there, and you can see the whole list. So it's like a rotating schedule. One Wednesday it's King Family. The next Wednesday it's Wolf Factory, and we have different times, and they have different specials going on at the same time. So the partners we have, so Carter Mountain, Wolf Factory, King Family, Knight's Gambit, and then Potters. And yeah, they have all sorts of different specials going on, and there's different days and a variety of different times that we've worked out with them, just to kind of spread it out and give multiple opportunities there. And it's through the summer, so every week we've got something somewhere.
This is a great one that's going to give you some bright spirits. This is from Laura. She says, "I love the FlyDog tribe. I'm confident this yoga studio is going to come out of COVID stronger and deeper and student-based than ever before."
That's so great. And for all of our small businesses, it does seem like they're doing good. They're doing great. They're doing their outdoor. it's a lot of work, and
it's a fraction of what indoor is.
A fraction of what indoor is.
Yeah,
yes,
it
is a fraction.
Even with the restaurants, guys, it might seem like their to-go is off the chain, but they gotta have indoor seating to make this work.
Yeah, well, and just where, again, with the our overhead, of just trying to, where we were 18 months ago is just different. I mean, that's going to take, another year, 2 years to try and get back up to that place. So for all of the businesses, all of our small businesses, it seems like, oh yeah, they're really going. And just keep in mind, we've depleted everything. And it is, for lots of people, majority of people, it's like first year with nothing behind them, right? And so we're still just working and digging out of this. So we're just trying to continue to welcome people back and whatever way possible, but just kind of keep us in mind that for a lot of people, it's like, well, I don't know if I'm ready yet. I don't know if I'm, and we have lots of different options.
Now's the time to try, to find out if you're ready.
Right. So it's still, there is, for some people, there is the hesitancy, but then they've come out and joined us outdoors, So there are options there. And yeah, just continuing to keep posting, keep sharing, keep commenting for all the businesses, just to kind of keep generating just that support and the acknowledgement there that it's tough. I thought the first year was tough, a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress. I think I heard your story the other week or something, how you guys started that first.
2008, I had no customers for 6 months.
Yes, that's the one.
I took my life savings to start the business, ran out of my money, and was going to a Chinese food buffet with Ziploc bags.
Yes.
And scraping food into Ziploc bags. Yeah. That is true. Literally what happened. Yeah,
and so first year I thought, oh my gosh, this is so difficult, and then we're here. So,
but dude, you are such, I sincerely mean this, and I know you know this, and you've heard it from other people, but sometimes it's great to hear it again.
Right.
You are such a winner.
Oh,
and you are such a badass, and I sincerely mean this. And I can just tell from your energy here that your guys are going to overcome this, and you guys are going to win, and it's going to be. I mean it. I mean, you're a fighter. I mean, the story with you and your man, when you guys first met. I don't know all the details, but I remember it was some significant time apart, right?
Well, yeah. So he was, So we met playing rugby, but then, but he was active duty military,
right?
And so that first year, it was completing his special forces training, and so he was gone for a while, and then he was deployed for a year.
I mean, if you could do that,
right? I mean, but that's always what it is. We can get through this,
right?
And we know that, and it's just like. How?
But you've done you have tried to do stuff. We're as you know, we're an advertising agency here.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna name any names here. We have some clients that literally it's gonna pass.
Right.
We're just gonna keep doing the business as we were doing before.
Oh, we see
COVID.
that a lot with yoga. A lot with the yoga.
And they're
studios.
it's just gonna pass. It's almost like they're just sitting in a lawn chair on the beach and doing nothing.
We've seen that, yeah.
Where at least you guys are trying.
I mean, we have to.
Yeah, left and right.
You have to. Yeah. No, and we've seen that a lot with studios. We're not really, I don't really want to embrace the online stuff. I get it, but we're we have to if we're going to do this or not, And, some people just stayed with Zoom with classes, and we decided, okay, no, we want to go next level and create this whole online platform with it. And I do think, and it was hard having to pay for that and trying to get that, all the equipment. You guys know about equipment. Trying to get all the equipment
and how
the
about the
technology
manpower to run the equipment?
Yes.
Right? Because you and I can get in front of a camera, and we can do what we do, and we can still bring the energy. It's right.
Yes, our
we
whole
saw
team
that
of
before
managers.
the show.
Yes, everybody with our manager. they don't know technology. They've had to learn in this last year.
Right.
And I mean, and we've switched a couple of different things, and they've had to learn this. So a huge shout out to our managers. My own team is amazing. And Brad too. I mean, just learn what we're doing. So that's been huge. I mean, that just goes back to like your team. Who are your people? You know, you invest in your people, and hopefully that comes back to you. You know, so that's been super important, and just trying to. I do think that all of that investment, even though it's a lot, I do think on the flip side that diversification, the diversification there for us, I think ultimately will help us in the long run. Because I mean, before it was like events and indoor, and now we're going to get this going with everything that we've had to learn in this past year. So that's the biggest. That was one of the biggest takeaways with it, is how do we learn from this past year. But yeah, there's a lot of studios, a lot of fitness people in the industry that we'll just wait. We'll just see. We'll just kind of hold and
you're going to eat their lunch. Okay, I could say that. You could say that. I think this time next year, you guys are going to have more market share than ever. You're going to have more customers than ever. And you guys are going to be rocking, and you're going to be saying, remember COVID? If we can get through that, then we can do anything with this brand and company.
I think so. So I think that the opportunity just to be beyond just local, that's the other big thing.
Yeah.
To really reach regionally, you know, just other people, and having that accessibility has been huge. And just to spotlight like who we are, and my teachers, the whole team, and how like amazing, you know, the whole thing of what we do to build this connection.
I mean, you could be in a position where like the content itself, the IP is the content. The content itself becomes so deep and robust that it has so much value to someone to purchase the content just from you. Or, I mean, I'm sure, are you doing an online membership only?
Yes, we have online, and then we do have plans for some kind of combination of people in person, online. But I'm telling you, if you haven't seen, so our online production, so FlyDog online, and I just gave them a shout out earlier, but Night for Night Productions over next to Firefly. What's the road?
Is that Market Street?
I think so. Is it?
Okay.
Someone? You should see the content. It's amazing. And so, I mean, it's not Zoom classes, you know? And so they've come in there. Yes. Yeah. The filming, the production of it, and amazing. They've done an amazing job. And so that, I think, again, sets us apart for opportunities down the road. Sure. Because it just has that touch with it, and it's great. So that's been huge to have. Again, we also had the live streaming with classes, and I think that's really important because it does feel like a little bit more of, oh, I'm with them in class.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so we have those different options, and yeah, it's just, I do think, like you were saying, there could be there could be opportunities, and if so, we're ready for it. We've done the work with it. So I think that's just a huge learning curve, and it was a lot to learn, but we did it. So
I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I cannot wait to continue to chat with you and see where you guys are this time next year.
Yeah.
And you're like killing it. I am grateful for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
Anybody you suggest on the show, we'll get them on.
Perfect.
And go support FlyDog Yoga.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you for coming in the studio. Judah, thank you for
thank you, Judah.
Being the compass today, per usual, my friend. Eliza Whiteman, guys, of FlyDog Yoga. She is absolutely awesome. Please support the businesses that need our support. We want to keep local businesses and brands running and clicking and moving forward. Guys, we have to support them now. So please do that. We're going to be back here on Monday with Women Changing Our World. It's going to be a fantastic show at 10:15 a.m. We also have a strong lineup of guests for next week, including Nancy Gill former mayor of Scottsville, and Carrie Rock, the founder of Do Good CVille, next week, along with some other cast of characters. My name is Jerry Miller for Judah Wickower. This is the I Love CVille Show on a Friday. Keep it local, guys. Take care. Bye. Excellent work.
Thank you.
Very good.